Straight Talk Sales and Marketing Podcast, episode number 1. Welcome to Straight Talk Sales and Marketing with Janet Clark. Are you ready for more sales, more clients, and more cash flow? This podcast brings you direct, honest conversations with sales and marketing masters each week. Now here is your host, Sales and Marketing Master, Janet Clark.
Hello and welcome to Straight Talk Sales and Marketing. I am your host, Janet Clark, CEO and founder of The Freedom Shift. And you are in the right place if you are an entrepreneur and you want to get more clients. So today's topic is the power of your email list. We'll discuss why a targeted email list is important and how to build one in case you don't have one, and then how to convert it into sales. So let's jump right in. Let's talk a little bit first about email marketing. You know, a lot of people claim that email marketing is dead. And it may seem that it is outdated now that social media and mobile marketing are so prevalent. But statistics show that email marketing is actually alive and well and thriving. So think about this. 91% of us use email on a daily basis. It's actually one of the most important and effective avenues of communication. And the Direct Marketing Association says that email has a return on investment of 4,300%. I mean, that's almost not fathomable. I can't even say the word. But imagine the cost of email marketing is like negligible, and the return is amazing. So 4,300% is what they're saying. And according to Copy Blogger, email provides the most direct lines of communication, and it is absolutely the most effective way to convert sales. So savvy online marketers already know that they're not going to stop using email marketing anytime soon, and neither should you. So here's how I learned about the power of email marketing. I'll share a quick story about how it worked for me when I was starting up The Freedom Shift, which is my business. So I'll tell you what I did right, and then I'll tell you a few things that I actually did backwards. I figured out first what my niche was, and that was the right thing to do. So I knew that I wanted to work with entrepreneurs who had already had success either as an entrepreneur or in a corporate or professional career, who have a big mission and they really want to find a way to get that talent or service or gift that they have out to more people. And they need a business structure to do it. So I consider them purpose-driven entrepreneurs who want to make a thriving livelihood out of their purpose. Now, I also knew that I wanted to help them by putting that business structure or systems in place to help them to create a business so that they could actually do the work that they do best and the work that they love. So that allowed them a lot of freedom, which was a great mission that I had, and I at least knew what my gifts were and how I was going to help and make my contribution. So then I did things a little backwards. What I did was I invested in a website, cha-ching, okay? That cost me money. And then I invested in my blog writing campaign, which cost me time and money. And then I invested a whole bunch of time and money in trying to find the best way to get to the clients that I wanted to reach online. And I did that by signing up for all kinds of ebooks and webinars and online training programs. And it just ended up also costing me a lot of time and money. And I really didn't get that far until I finally did the right thing, which was to hire a coach. And I really found a coach that had already done what I needed to do, which was to create a thriving online business, coaching business, and generating leads and finding clients online. So when I got the coach, she clued me into the one thing that I was missing, which was a list. Now, imagine how excited I got when I was thinking about a list of my ideal clients that would actually be interested in reading my blogs, coming to my website, attending my webinars, and interacting with me on social media. So I was really excited to think, okay, this is the way to go. I need to build a list. And all I had to do to connect with these people once I had that list was to use email, because we all use it. You know, I had always heard that the money was in the list, and I knew that I needed an email list, but I had no idea how to build that list until my coach showed me the simple way to do it, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. But first, let me tell you what happened after I did build the list. Because once I had a targeted list of entrepreneurs who were interested in making a freedom shift, I was able to build a relationship with those people. And I did that by surveying them to find out what they needed. I invited them to attend some free webinars. I sent them free content and did some video trainings. I got them on strategy calls where we could chat and I could learn about what was in their way, what was stopping them from moving forward in their business. I could connect with them through my blogs and make a sort of a heart connection with them. And I could send them my newsletters and little sales tips. And of course, I could do all this through email. So in doing this and building this relationship, I was able to learn some things about them, right? So I was able to find out what was the big obstacle that was in the way. What did they really need and want? What was their big dream? And why was that dream important to them? And I was then able to develop a program that would help them and really answer the exact need that they had. And then I was able to start enrolling clients. And the interesting thing is that this program that I created, I wouldn't have even known enough to create that if I hadn't made that connection with that list first. If I hadn't listened to them, and if I didn't have the list in the first place. So in the end, they wouldn't have signed on with me because they wouldn't have gotten to know me, like me, and trust me. So I had this opportunity to interact with them all because of email. Now, thanks to my list and email marketing, I've been able to build a six-figure business in 1 year, and I'm actually on track to probably triple or quadruple that in year 2. I really have become a huge advocate of building a list and nurturing that list and doing it through email marketing. So you may want to know, and I know you do, how do you build a list? Now, if you're starting from scratch like I did, it feels sort of daunting. Like, how am I going to do this? And we all have heard all the different ways that people do build a list, and different people recommend different things. So I'm going to just talk to you about a few of those things, but then I'm going to tell you my favorite. So the first thing you can do is you can buy a list. Another thing you can do is use Facebook ads, so some sort of a social media plan. You can create an optimized website And by offering a free gift, you can get people to opt in to your list. You could do joint ventures, or you can host a telesummit. And that is the fastest way to build a list, and my number one favorite way, which is hosting a telesummit. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But first, let's talk about the other things that I mentioned. So buying a list is expensive. So you could spend up to $3 a name to buy a list, and because these people don't know you and they didn't opt into your list in the first place, chances are that when you start emailing them, they'll actually opt out of your list. The second thing you could do is you could do a Facebook campaign. Now, I'm a big advocate of Facebook marketing, and we are actually going to be going into that in a future podcast. But building your initial list that way is not the most effective way, because the people that you get through ads are not as engaged with you, and they're not as much your ideal client as people who actually opt in to your list. Plus, it takes longer when you do it through Facebook to build rapport with those people. And again, I'll explain why when we get into talking about the telesummits. So the third thing that I mentioned was SEO, search engine optimization of your website. And again, that's good, but it takes a long time. And when you do that, you're at the mercy of the search engines and the algorithms that they change on a regular basis. So you could be getting traffic, build up to getting some good traffic flow to your website, and it may take you a year to do that, and then all of a sudden Google changes its algorithms and you lose your traffic. So it's not a good thing to have to depend on the search engines. And then I mentioned joint ventures. And again, these are great list builders. However, most JV partners are not going to work with you until you have a list of your own. So it's kind of the chicken and the egg syndrome. What comes first? Well, you really need to build your list before you can effectively go out and look for JV partners. So that brings us to telesummits. Now, I personally recommend video summits. And what that means is that you would interview 21 experts in your field who already have a list, and they would in turn promote your summit to their list. And every time someone opts in to your summit, they automatically go on to your list. Now, I know that the minute I bring up telesummit or video summit, people's heads start talking and objections start coming up and fears. Because I've worked with enough people now to know human nature is that people are going to find reasons and resistance to moving in a new direction. So if you are one of those people, I'm going to actually address some of the things that may be going through your head right now. So the first thing that I hear from a lot of people is that everybody's doing telesummits. There's a million of them out there. People are getting sick of them. Well, the fact of the matter is that the reason why there's a million of them out there is because people really do like them and they work. So it's not, you may be seeing a lot of them and some of them may not interest you, but when something comes along that does interest you, you will sign up for it. So other things that people say is, well, I don't have any way that I could find experts because I'm new in my niche, or I just don't know anybody else that would be willing to be an expert on my summit. And again, I know what you're going through because that was me. I had come from a business-to-business world with my last entrepreneurial endeavor. And when I decided that I was going to get out of that technology company that I was in, where I was selling to other businesses, and actually start being a coach and a providing a team for entrepreneurs, I didn't know anybody. And I had to start totally from scratch as an unknown. And the fact is that there is a process and it works. So you can learn how to get these experts to want to be on your summit. And all it takes is the right guidance. If you feel like the minute you hear video summit, you start thinking about being camera shy, well, again, that's like 95% of the other people that are out there, including me, who really is comfortable getting in front of a camera. It's hard to do it at first, but like anything else, it just takes practice, and once you practice it, it becomes easier. So the nice thing about doing it with a telesummit is that you're actually pre-recording all of the interviews that you do for the summit. So it gives you a chance to actually relax and be in the moment with the expert that you're interviewing. And if there's a little glitch here and there, it can get edited out. It's not a big deal. So the third thing that people come up with is, I wouldn't know how to conduct an interview. And the truth is, yes, you do. If you know how to have a conversation with somebody and you know how to ask a couple of questions, you can conduct an interview. You don't have to be Barbara Walters. And let's see, what else? People come up with, I am just too afraid. And I am just here to tell you that I have seen hundreds of real scaredy cats who thought that they were not going to be able to do it actually pull this off and get a nice list out of doing a video summit. And I could introduce you to some of them. So all of those fears that are coming up, all of those objections, that's just your stuff getting in the way. But the fact of the matter is, we can get you over that, and you can host a video summit. So let me tell you why it's great for you to do it and why it's worth getting over these fears. First of all, you get to build a list, and I've already told you how important building that list is. Another thing is that you will get the right people on your list. So you will actually attract your ideal clients, and that makes your list so much more valuable. So anybody could have a list, but if that list isn't interested in what you do, then it really doesn't prove or provide you with any value at all. When you do create the list by doing a summit, you actually are connecting with people at a heart level. They really get to know your personality. They get to hear you and see you. And so it's a different type of a connection than it would be if it was just an audio summit. And it elevates your status in your field, because now you're seen as equal to these experts who are already working with clients in your niche. So you interview your experts, and by doing that, you're also making a connection with them, and they become your peers. And later, you will be able to do joint ventures with these experts who you connect with and you meet by putting some time and effort into actually interviewing them for a summit. You're going to get a whole bunch of new information, which is just going to make you smarter and more capable when you actually do start developing programs for your clients. And you're going to have a lot of fun. You'll feel really inspired. And as I said, you'll have set yourself up as an expert along with all the experts that you interview. So, why is a summit great for your experts? Well, first of all, they get to know you. And if you didn't take the initiative to reach out to them and invite them onto your summit, they wouldn't have had the opportunity to get to know you. And as you know, you bring a lot of value. So they're lucky that they get to know you. And also, they get promoted by 20 other experts who are also working with that same client base. And they appreciate that. They also get recognition just by being associated with the other experts. So their status gets elevated. And they get an opportunity to add new clients to their list. So because you've invited these experts in and you've acknowledged them as an expert, they feel honored to be on your summit. So it's a definite win for whoever you invite to be an expert. Now, here's why it's great for your audience. They get an awesome educational experience in something they're very interested in, which is why they opt in the first place. And they get to meet you, and as we've already established, you bring a lot of value to your field, and if you didn't take the initiative to reach out, how would they have got to know you? So you are now in their scope, in their field of vision, and they're going to appreciate that. They also get to meet other experts who are in their field, and for the most part, they may only know a handful of these experts, so they're getting introduced to a lot more of them, and they're getting to know them on a more personal level because it's video. Your audience also gets a free gift from each one of the experts, so that's 21 free gifts. That's well worth signing up for a summit. And they get inspired to up-level their own skills. And people love to be inspired. They love to hear from other people who can help them. And obviously they gain an abundance of new knowledge. So overall, doing a summit is a win-win-win. And for your business in general, it's absolutely a great thing to do. And here's why. When you do these videos, you get a ton of content that you will be able to repurpose. And all you had to do was interview somebody to get it. So once you have all these videos, after your summit is over, you can package them and you can sell them. Or you can post them to YouTube and optimize them, search engine optimization, so that you have your own YouTube channel and people can actually find you more easily. And because we advocate in the programs that we offer, people use Google Hangouts. I definitely suggest you do that because Google owns YouTube. And if you have something that you've done in Google Plus, which is your Google Hangouts, it automatically uploads to YouTube, and Google likes that. So in the search engine ranking, you're actually going to have be more optimized. Also, you'll be able to use the MP3s that you can extract from the video, and you can actually create your podcast from these interviews. So you'll get to launch your podcast and already have 21 interviews done, which is great. And let's see, you can take the transcripts out and use them for some blog content. And you've also obviously got your new network of joint venture partners. So there's so many advantages to taking the time to build your email list by doing a video summit. And I probably even missed a few. But most importantly, you will have a list that you can convert into paying clients, because these are the people who are hungry for what you have to offer, and they're actively seeking help. And now you have an audience that you can communicate your offer to. So obviously, I'm a big fan of building an email list, and I really hope that you got something from this topic today. I can vouch for the fact that if you build it, they will come, and you can create your own field of dreams. Yes, they will come to your summit, and they will come to your list if you build it the right way. And I have seen hundreds of entrepreneurs who have done this successfully. So I know it works, and I encourage you to find someone who can help you to build an email list. And for those of you who already have a list, you may need to re-energize that list. And next week, I am going to talk to you about how to monetize a list and also how to create multiple streams of income, which I know we all want. So I invite you to head over to www.straighttalksalesandmarketing.com and pick up a free copy of my ebook, which is Sell from the Heart. And I am Janet Clark. I am your host for Straight Talk Sales and Marketing. I will be back with you next week, and I thank you so much for listening. So don't forget to tune in next week and have a light-filled and lovely week until then. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the podcast. So now you know the power of an email list. And you know that it's so important to actually leverage that email list to the biggest extent possible. So our challenge to you, go out there and create an email list. Let us know if you first of all have an email list by going to straighttalksalesandmarketing.com/001 for episode number 1, and just leave in the comments there. Let us know if you have an email list, and let us know what your biggest takeaway from this episode. We'd love to hear from you, and if you have any questions, we can actually answer those on a future episode of the podcast, and we'd be happy to do so. So let us know that, and before we wrap up this episode, I just want to encourage you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, because on iTunes that you're going to get every single episode delivered right to you just by simply going to straighttalksalesandmarketing.com/podcast. If you take it to iTunes, you can subscribe there, because in these first few weeks of the podcast, we are actually going to be delivering multiple episodes during each week, and then every single Monday from the weeks thereafter. So be sure to sign up so you don't miss a single episode. And lastly, we're doing a very special giveaway to kind of launch this podcast. You can get some great prizes and sign up for a giveaway simply by going to straighttalksalesandmarketing.com/podcast launch, and you just sign up there, follow the instructions, and you'll be entered into the giveaway contest. So now it's your turn. It's time for you to go out there, take action, and get the most from your sales and marketing. Take that to the next level, and we will talk to you on the next episode.